earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Shalom, family. Shabbat shalom. All right, so today we're going to the book of Maccabees, but we're going to go into Matthathias, the father of Judas Maccabees. We're going to show some of his mighty works that he did, setting his house in order before, the Grecians were trying to come take over. So let's open up with the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2.
This is the book of Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 1. In those days arose Matthathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the son of Joarib, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And he had 5 sons, Johanan called Cadiz, Simon called Thassi, Judas, who was called Maccabees, Eleazar called Everon, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphis. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the land of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers.
Okay, so if we all familiar with chapter 1, 1 Maccabees chapter 1, show of hands. Okay, so, just summarizing a lot, a few hands didn't go up. It was a lot of slaughter, and what they're doing is they're trying to overthrow our people and get us to follow their laws and their holy days and profane our Sabbaths, profane our temple, had us killing our own children, killing our own people, had us slaughtering unlawful and unclean beasts, right? So here it is, you got Matthathias, who in his feelings about this, like, man, woe is me, whereby was I born to see this misery of my people. So he got a deep pain in his heart, like, dang, all of this is happening to my people. And now, of course, you got to have the understanding, knowing that they had a few of the scriptures, we'll say, for the sake of context, the Old Testament maybe, but, they growing up in the law generation after generation. So they keeping the customs of their fathers and knowing that, okay, this ain't right. So sitting back, just looking at it, he like, man, that's hurting him to his heart. Let's keep going.
Verse 8, her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away to captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman she has become a bondslave. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it.
Real quick, can anybody name like a reason or an idea of why y'all feel like these things could happen to our people?
Most High.
Say that again.
Not following the 10 Commandments and the Most High.
Not keeping the Most High's laws, right? You going off, the Most High gonna put these other nations over you. So let's keep going. Verse 13.
Yeah. Verse 13. To what end thereof shall we live any longer? Then Matthathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city Modin to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Matthathias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officers and said to Matthathias, on this wise, On this wise, thou art the ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first, and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou in thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
So what he trying to do right here is he going to the chief basically, because you know, with let me see, Matthathias he from Levi, he a priest. So he going to this man of high stature amongst his people, like, hey, let me see if I can bribe you with some things. Let me see if I can get you right. Y'all come and go ahead and you know, if they see you following the king's laws, the king's commandments, maybe your people will come also. But key points right here, right? Verse 14, then Matthathias and his sons rent their clothes. You'll constantly hear Matthathias and his sons, Matthathias and his house. You'll hear that, you know, Matthathias got his house in order. So when he moved, his sons is moving. So you got a community of people that's also behind Matthathias. So they're not going for that. So what the king was trying to do here was trying to bribe him to get him to go ahead and follow his laws. Let's go ahead and pick it up at verse 19.
Mm-hmm. Then Matthathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away, everyone from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left.
Hold that. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 real quick. Because like I said earlier, you know, growing up in the law, he took favor in understanding the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. This is how I'm going to raise my family. This is what I know, that when we in this, we got our protection, right? So he ain't trying to depart, not even a little bit from that. Let me get there with you. You can go ahead and read verse 1.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations on the earth of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So he has an understanding. Like, look, all of these blessings, this is what we looking for. We trying to make sure that we ain't going off, right? But also on the otherwise, jump to verse 14.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 14. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them.
To go after other gods, other powers, other kings, other kingdoms, anything that you like outside of the Most High and the way that he's guiding you. Keep going.
Verse 15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So that's what he's watching out for. And he already know, because we didn't already heard about all the captivities our people done been in. So, you know, with that being said, he like, look, we don't want to go through that all over again. So, you know, jump to verse 25 for me, Slucky.
Verse 25, the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
And we didn't seen that throughout all these testimonies. You got the Syrian captivity, Babylonian captivity, the Grecian captivity. We didn't read about all of these things, right? So with that being said, he like, look, we're not going for none of it. The Lord's will gonna be the Lord's will. Let's go back to 1 Maccabees chapter 2.
19. Yep.
No, verse 23.
Verse 20? 23?
Yeah, you was at verse 23.
Okay. Come. This is the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 23. Now we had left speaking, now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all, one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was at Moedim, according to the king's commandment.
That's just Modine.
Modine, come. Verse 24. Which thing when Matthathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar.
Come on, go to Jeremiah chapter 17 real quick. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 17. I can hold that. Start that at verse 1.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17 and verse 1. The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altars. Whilst their children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills. O my mountain in the field, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, in the high places for sin throughout all thy borders. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land, which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh in his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord.
So going back to 1 Maccabees chapter 2 and 23. Now when he had left speaking these words, there came a man of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. So now here it is, he's discontinuing from his heritage. That's not part of our heritage to sacrifice to somebody outside of Israel's anything. Like you, I can only imagine what they had going on. You know, we know about a lot about the Greek, what is it called? The Greek mythology and all of that, the Zeus and Hercules and all of that. So around this time, I'm sure a lot of this was going on. So, you know, he's starting to believe in their powers, what they're setting up as gods. And we know they got multiple gods. So Matthathias was not having it. Pick it up at verse 24 again.
The Maccabees, right?
Come.
This is the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 24. Which thing, when Matthathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled, neither could he forbear to show his anger according to the judgment, wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. Also the king's commandment, also the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. Thou dealt he zealously for the law of God, like the Phoenicians did unto Zambri, the son of Salam. And Matthathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons.
Read verse 27.
Which one?
27.
Okay. Verse 27. And Matthathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me.
So right here, he already know. Look, some of y'all out there ain't going for none of this. So whoever rocking with the Most High, follow me. We finna get this in order. Let's go to the book of Joshua, chapter 24 real quick. Hold that. The book of Joshua, chapter 24 and verse 15. Actually, start that at verse 14.
All right. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 24 and verse 14. Now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the goods which your father served on the God. Verse 14. Now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood, and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord.
Because things written aforetime are written for our learning. So we already have these testimonies. So we know, okay, look, these things happened before. Like I said, we don't want these to happen to us. So let's stay with the Most High. This is what he's saying right here. Like, look, anybody that's not going for that, anybody that's here to serve the Lord, come on, follow me, because we finna get it in order. Read verse 15.
And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom ye will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Come. So, anybody know what happened to those that served the gods on the other side of the flood?
They died.
Come. So, look, you don't want to die, you want to get right? Come on. So that's what Matthathias is letting them know right there. Let's pick it up at verse 28.
Right here.
We in the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse 28.
Verse 28. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there. Both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increased sore upon them. Now when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were going down into the secret places in the wilderness. They pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live.
So now you're hitting them with a cheap shot. You know what I mean? They came at them on the Shabbat, knowing that they ain't gonna do that because they honor their God too much. So they came and hit him with a cheap shot, right? And then he still came through and bribed them. Look, verse 33, and they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. So basically, like, you see what happened to, you know what I mean, the other Jews, the other Israelites. Y'all want it to happen to y'all? You know what I mean? What they call that in during the modern slavery out here was that, like, buck breaking. We could say something like that, for example. You know what I mean? Let's keep going. Verse 34.
34, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. So then they gave them the battle with all speed. Howbeit they answered them not, neither can they a stone, howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, and stopped the place where they had, stopped the place where they lay hid, but said, let us die all in our, hold on.
I'm going to read from verse 36. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid, but said, let us die all in our innocency. Heaven and earth shall testify for us, that ye put us to death wrongfully. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle, to the number of 1,000 people. So they, like I said, they came and hit them with a cheap shot. They didn't kill them on the Sabbath. And they said, nah, look, ain't nothing y'all gonna do gonna scare us. Nothing y'all gonna do gonna have us go against the Most High. They'd rather die than serve their God. They'd rather die than fall down to that king. Verse 39. Now when Matthathias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. So he like, look, if we all just sit here, we gonna all die. Ain't gonna be no remembrance of us no more. And we ain't going out like that. Most High willing, he give us the strength to go ahead and fight, right? Verse 41. At that time thereof, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him. Neither will we all die, as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law. So now you got this group of Jews, group of Israelites, the Assyrians. When you do your homework on them, it's, I guess, put it in context in like modern time, it's like the Black Panther Party or something. You had Israelites that stood for the same thing, but they had their own group, right? So they come over here and they like, look, we're gonna join forces with y'all and make sure that we stand up solid for the Most High. Verse 43. Also, all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them, and were a stay unto them. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger, and wicked men in their wrath. But the rest fled to the heathen for succor. So now you got those that was fleeing from place to place. They hiding out. Some of them had built up enough strength to come fight. Some of them went back to the king. They're like, look, this is the only way we see fit. We got to just go with the heathen. All right. Verse 45. Then Matthathias and his friends went round about and pulled down altars. And what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiantly. They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their land. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles and out of the hand of the kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph. Now when the time drew near Matthathias, now when the time drew near that Matthathias should die, he said unto his sons, how now hath pride and rebuke begotten strength, and the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name. Right? So like I was saying, he's setting his house in order. All these things are great for us to, look at these things and, follow after and take heed as fathers, as mothers in this truth, because we got examples and see, but they was going through some crazy times. Most High willing, we don't have to go through those things, but if it may be, you got great examples. These brothers had to go to the wilderness. They hid out. The Most High put it on one of the brothers' spirits to go ahead and fight back. Okay, my house is set in order. We're going to go ahead and recruit. We're going to gather some other troops. Next thing you know, you got other troops that's like-minded individuals. The Most High going to build you up. But if you go contrary to what he say, where your strength at? You know what I mean? Let's jump to the book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 7 real quick. And read the verse 11. The book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 7.
The heavens declare, the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous together altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold. Sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is a great reward.
Done. So going back to when the king was trying to bribe Matthathias, what was that? I believe that was verse 39. Where he's trying to bribe him, like, look, we're gonna set y'all straight. We're gonna get y'all some gold, we're gonna hook y'all up. All you gotta do is make sure your people come follow our thing. Come follow our laws. And he wasn't going for it because he had the understanding already. Like, look, the judgment of the Lord, that's over everything, right? More to be desired are they than gold. We supposed to stay in the Most High's law, and that's more valuable than anything that we can tangibly touch, anything we can even think of, right? You're going to get your protection. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. Ain't no greater reward than the salvation that the Most High going to provide. And that's what we all striving for. Let's go ahead and pick that back up in First Maccabees chapter 2. We're going to pick it up at verse 52.
Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt. Phani, our father, in being zealous and fervent, obtained a covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Oh, Salakia. Read it over.
You good. 55 to Joshua. You good.
You said what?
You good. 55 to Joshua.
Okay. 55. Joshua, for fulfilling the word, was made and judge in Israel. Caleb, for forbearing witness before the congregation, received the heritage of the land. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. Elias, for being zealous and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven. Ananias, Azarias, and Misael, by believing, were saved out of the flame.
Those are the brothers whose names was changed to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, for anybody who didn't know.
Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of the lion.
So his purpose of going here is when he told him, call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall you receive great honor and everlasting name. So all of these brothers here, you know, like you said, things written aforetime are written for our learning. These are great testimonies for us to understand that these were zealous brothers that they endured to the end. You know what I mean? Whether it was a pit of fire, whether you was face to face with a lion, whether you was face to face with this giant Goliath, whatever it was, when these brothers had their faith in the Most High gave them the strength to endure to the end. Keep going.
61. And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. Fear not then the words of a sinful man, for his glory shall be the dung and worms. Today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned into his dust, and his thoughts is come to nothing. Wherefore ye, my son, be valiant, and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law, for by it shall ye obtain glory. And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him always. He shall be a father unto you. As for Judas Maccabees, he hath been mighty and strong, even from his youth up. Let him be your captain and fight the battle of the people.
I just want to get this precept real quick. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 14. 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 13. We can hold that. We coming to finish that out.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14 and verse 13. Now therefore set thine house in order, and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption.
And that's exactly what Matthathias is doing here. So right here, he got his son Judas Maccabees. He like, look, he gonna be the captain. He got his son Simon. Look, he got enough counsel. He got enough wisdom. Give ear unto him. He gonna be like a father to y'all, because he basically Matthathias is about to die. So before he go out, he like, look, this is the order of everything. This is how it should be done. Carry it out. Keep going. We're going back to the book of Maccabees.
Verse 68. 67. Take also unto you all those that observe the law, and avenge ye the wrong of your people. Recompense fully the heathen, and take heed to the commandment of the law. So be blessed them, so he blessed them and was gathered to his fathers. And he died in the 146th year, and his sons buried him in the sepulchres of the fathers of Modin, and all Israel made great lamentation for him.
God. So now in the next chapter it goes on to talk about Judas and all the great wonders that he did, and all the fights that they put up against these Grecians, right? But moral of the story here is you got those that's gonna stand for the Most High and those that's not. You got those that when they do, Most High willing, you get like-minded people around you and you move in power. And that's the whole purpose of us. When we keep in these holy days, we gather on Shabbat, we around like-minded people. We build a family strong enough in the Most High's word, right? So that right there concludes our lesson.
Next up, yeah.